Hello, everyone. This episode is going to be about what to do if this year sucked. So, I keep seeing over and over on photography forums, which is like my ear to the ground of the reality of photography. Because, as you know, one of my favorite ranty rants is the educators who are not actually able to get like book reel sessions themselves, try to portray themselves as extremely busy, and they become who everyone's comparing to. Meanwhile, they are struggling to make any money with their sessions. And if you look at any number of photography groups on Facebook, especially, I will admit I do kind of like to peruse the groups, and I get a little excited when there's a little drama. I don't know. It's kind of fun. So I've left a few of them because they just got silly. I got kicked out of one. I told this story already. It was like a IPS, it was like non-IPS photographer group. And I got kicked out of there because I got so sick of them always complaining about the people who charge $50. So I was like, hey, FYI, another option is to just not worry about those people. They've always existed. And they were like, what? Kick me out. But beyond the ones I'm still in, this idea of 2024 being the absolute worst year is very, very common. So let's address it. The worst possible thing that could happen from can I swear in here? It's my podcast, but I can't remember. We'll stick with no. The worst possible thing that can happen after a sucky year is to not change. Especially because I don't see any major changes really happening with the economy, if not the economy getting slightly more sticky, shall we say. So the goal is to take an honest look at your marketing habits or lack thereof and see which habits or lack of habits really did not serve you and make a way for yourself to change. So you can't keep doing what you've done and think you're going to get a different result. And I wish that it could be as easy, and I talk about this on here because I want to always be so honest. Like, it used to be a lot easier to market. That's just the bottom line. It's sort of weird how you have a lot of photographers who came on the market when Instagram was super easy and were really good at making short form videos, or they operated like influencers and they got a lot of traction and they have a lot of followers, and they've been able to just milk that this entire time. And I feel like it's not impossible. There's definitely places to do that where you can really grow an audience quickly. I don't necessarily know that Instagram is one of them. You definitely could, but you would have to pour into storytelling content. And it's a lot harder on Instagram to build a local audience, I feel like. So anyway, there is also the danger of getting really bad advice and learning from someone who doesn't actually know what they're talking about. And that was an example I saw in another photography group where someone had said, hey, my social media education Instagram is really struggling right now. And so could all of you people in this random photography group go and comment on stuff and like it so I can get it going again, because I don't know what else to do because I'm stuck. And this person had a reel on their Instagram account that was called How to Grow Your Instagram Account. I was like, oh, why don't you just watch your own reel? Because having some bunch of random people from this Facebook group like your Instagram post is not going to make you boom back into business. So of the things I've talked about so far, one, it was a crappy year for a lot of people, especially if they were using outdated marketing techniques. And two, you need to be really careful about who you learn from. And part of the reason I harp on this is not because I want to be like, oh, I do think there should be an authenticity. I do think that people should be able to stand on the back of what they say. And if you can't get clients, you can't teach other people how to get clients. Like, it's just a really tricky thing to say. And unfortunately, because of those bad practices, I get a lot of DMs about mentorships and workshops that people have done with very, very well-known photographers who have either given them horrible advice or they felt like they were just a number and it was clear that that educator was just trying to get money from them. So it does affect us all. And part of it is becoming a better consumer. All right, so on top of that, what my fall looked like was I had 43% more revenue between August and November than I did in 2023. And I credit that to three things. One, I was in growth mode because I'm trying to save money for the trip we're going on. So I knew that this fall I wanted to take on more. But of course, we can all say we want to take on more, but how do you actually make that a reality? So these are my three things I credit that revenue jump. My website. I will forever. So part of the reason sometimes it's hard for me to teach marketing in pieces, like I have a ton of people right now who are begging for like a Pinterest course because I always talk about Pinterest and I say how it's been so great for my business. And I do have a Pinterest course, but it's offline right now because there's all these other steps that you need to have in place before Pinterest will work for you. And it's a lot of work. Like you need to have a trustworthy website that is very consistent with up-to-date work. And you need to be blogging consistently. And those two things, shockingly, very few photographers have and or do. So then I get into this place where I feel like I'm teaching people how to do Pinterest on a shaky foundation because what they really need to do first is build a solid website presence. Number two is consistency. So, and I see this all the time when people freak out about their lack of bookings. They say like, it must be my editing. I must not be able to like handle light the right way. I should just go try something that's trendy. Like I, as an artist and as a human being on planet Earth, love the soft Scotland ladies. And if you are on Instagram and you follow photographers, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's like this moody, soft, foggy Scotland wonderland snuggle sessions on top of the Scottish hills. Like I have learned and taught myself that I can appreciate that without trying to emulate it, which is something that I've talked a lot about. So when you're in freak out mode because you're not getting bookings, one of the main problems is probably that your consistency has dropped. And that may be because you're in a fear cycle. So it's not so easy as to be like, oh, well, you know, you haven't been posting. People will be like, oh, I haven't booked anything in a long time. And I go and I look at their Instagram and I look at their website and it's quiet. And I'm like, are you emailing your list? Are you like, who are you letting know that you exist? And the answer is no one. And I think a lot of that has to do with just getting further and further into a consistency trap. The third one is giving myself time to market. So this is another issue I see with a lot of people where like, especially this year, I feel like people took fall for granted and they're like, oh, I'll be able to book fall because my fall always books, and then their fall booked, but way less than it normally did because they started booking fall like September 15th, whereas my fall calendar opens July 1st. And I'm talking about fall all the way through the last whole 2 months of summer. Giving myself that time and space to talk about things and market in a way that doesn't feel grabby. So as an observer of a lot of photographers, I saw a lot of grabbing going on and I saw a lot of freaking out in September going on. But had you started earlier, giving yourself a runway and a ramp to put out the content that you wanted to, figure out your visibility buckets and placed your flag in your small town as the go-to person for snuggly lifestyle family sessions that were happening in the leaves, then that may have been a different story. So if you're looking for a place to start, go to your storefront. Where's your storefront? If you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you know that's your website. That's how I look at it. That's how I see it. In my mind, I'm a little digital emoji that goes into my little pretty photography store website. And I want to look all around and find what I need and have it be clear and feel supported and walk out a happy customer. And that's exactly what I want all of my potential clients to do. Then what you need to do is get over other people. Stop comparing. Stop thinking you need to switch up your editing. Stop following the preset companies on Instagram and thinking like, oh, the next thing we need is, what's the thing I saw trending? Like, kites. We need kites. If we don't have any freaking kites, we're going down in flames. We need kites and we need a bandana and we need to be running with the kites. Now, if you've done, I saw that so much that I feel confident not, like there's no way you could single one person out with the kite thing. The kite or the paper airplane. So people think like that's the answer because there's a fundamental misunderstanding of who you're actually talking to. So the average family in your town doesn't know that there's a big trend with paper airplanes, wooden paper planes, and kites going around in social media. And if you want to do something like that, do it as a for fun creative session. But don't think that by doing that fun creative session featuring those things, that's going to lead you to more bookings. In fact, chasing trends will lead to confusion. That is a known thing. The person who follows you, who is an average Joanna, I had to use that because I rewatched The Rescuers Down Under and Joanna with the Eggs. So the average Joanna does not care about that at all. And they also follow you and they don't follow any other photographers. So they're not seeking that. You're seeking that. And the question is why? So if 2024 sucked, the good news is you literally have nothing to lose for 2025. And you know that things you did in 2024 didn't work. So you don't have to keep banging your head against the wall. You can make a new plan and then figure out what you need in your life to be able to stick to it. I heard a podcast episode with Seth Godin, who's my favorite marketing guy ever. And he said, time is the critical element to strategy. And right now, you have all the time in the world to get this right. 2025 is coming, but hardly anyone, unless you live in Arizona or some of the photographers I've mentored who live in warmer states where their season starts earlier. Busy season or spring or summer, all of that is still months away. You have so much time to plan. You have so much time to figure out what you're going to do. So you aren't stuck. You aren't stuck. You have infinite possibilities that lie ahead of you. About 5 or 6 years ago, 2018. How long ago was that? I have no idea. However long that was. I was coming home from a session that I loved. It was in this beautiful spot with this super fun family. Styling was perfect. Golden hour, warm wind, snuggly dad, all the stuff. And I had a little cry on the way home because I was thinking about all the families who had yet to stand in front of my lens in beautiful places. And I just felt this overwhelming sense of gratitude for doing this work. And so part of not making 2025 also suck is going to be romanticizing this work a little bit. So my first job was cold calling for refinancing people's mortgages with a bunch of bros who were taking speed in the bathroom. I was 21. I was the only girl. I went on to report my boss to the FBI for manufacturing false tax returns in his office. They went on to arrest him at the office. That was literally the let's welcome Fiona to the adult workforce job I had. So I'll take a grumpy dad over a felon any day. And this work is romantic. Part of that romance gets built up by you having really, really clear expectations of your family. And that is fun work to do. That's work where you are putting those in place, like me having my no grumpy adults checklist. That is helping your clients feel their best. That is exploring beautiful places if that's your thing, or if you're just about exploring places that are meaningful to them. Or I had someone message me about if she thought mentoring would be a good idea because she wants to switch to doing like bedtime sessions with families. It's freaking romantic. It's a cool job. But a lot of times the own lack of systems that we have, or us underestimating our own ability to build a business that is trustworthy and books out cuts down on the romanticism, and we're stuck in the mundane. And we might as well be calling for refinancing mortgages with a bunch of speed bros at that point, because it feels just about as crappy. So I just made a little dream board for 2025. I printed it out, I framed it, and it's in my kitchen. And then my daughter, who's 13, saw me making it, and I helped her make hers in Canva, and we printed it out and put it in her room. And of course, she doesn't have a job, but she wants to have some babysitting jobs, and she wants to do other things that will require her to get her own money or just put time into things. She loves to decorate. She wants to redo her room. Like, this job can be the opening of so many possibilities, but it's really just these fundamental things that are off kilter in marketing. And so if you can get those realigned, starting with your website, making that a trustworthy experience for a potential client, giving yourself a runway for marketing so you're not last minute marketing and grabbing at people who are left without a family photographer, who aren't going to be the people who are interested in your ideal sessions. Give yourself time, give yourself containers through systems that actually assist you to make your vision clear to potential clients, to both draw them in and weed the wrong people out, and have it be sustainable and profitable. Like, that is a goal that every single family photographer can achieve. And the most amazing thing about it is that, like, hardly anyone is. And it's not because there's not room for those people in the market. It's because everyone is hyper focused on the people coming on charging $50, and they're completely ignoring the fact that there is a wide open runway for people who want to build consistent, trustworthy brands. It doesn't mean you have to have a ton of followers. It has nothing to do with that. It's about people finding you organically or through word of mouth or through referrals, or however however people are finding you in these visibility buckets that you can create, and drawing those people in and creating a great customer experience for them. That is a romantic job. But it's not if you're constantly in scarcity. So I hope that was helpful. I did have, oh my gosh. So of course, because it's like a law that my entire education website the day before Black Friday went down, completely down. It was just a black screen with some words on it, and my theme had corrupted. So I couldn't even log on to WordPress. I had to use my host and go through the back end and try to fix it. And then no matter what I did, the theme kept re-corrupting. So I had to rebuild my entire education website from scratch. So the offer that I have for a one-on-one marketing mentoring for 8 weeks, I did a $50 off Black Friday deal, and I extended it on there. And so I'll add it here in the show notes, because it wasn't very helpful to send people to a black screen with a coupon code. So I'm really excited about that. I had a couple questions come in, so I'll answer them. Like, if there's something very specific that you want to work on within your marketing, that 8 weeks is yours to do with what you will. If you start to get all wingly-ningly off in the weeds about something that I don't think matters, as a mentor, I'll, kind of reel you back in to make sure that the work that we do together will lead to profitable results for you, because that tangible result is what I care about so much, and why I am always slightly adjusting my educational offers to make sure that people have that option. The mentoring you also get the course included with it, so that once our time together is done, if you need to refer to the course, you always have that there. It has like pretty much everything you would need to know in there. Okay. I hope that was helpful. And the other thing, I'm going to be going back to doing some marketing reviews, family photographer marketing reviews. So if you would like one, shoot me a DM on Instagram. And basically all that, you can go back and listen. I think I did them in December of 2023 last on the podcast. So if you want to get an idea of what I talk about, you could, and if you're too nervous and you want to see what I do or how I communicate it, you can listen to one of those episodes. But I'm not mean. I'm really nice. But I basically just go through and give some ideas of where, as a potential client, I would be getting stuck inside your brand, or the opportunities that I think that you have available to you for marketing. Okay, so I'll be back next week with some marketing reviews. If you want to be one of those people, shoot me an Instagram on DM. Shoot me a DM on Instagram.